Welcome back to another video. So in this one, we're going to be going over everything that you need to do to lose fat and gain muscle, but not just from generic bits of advice you can get anywhere on the internet. We're going to break down exactly what I do in my lifestyle, specific things that others might not do, that I do for me and my clients, what we live and breathe every day to get the results that we want to achieve. We're going to try and keep this as simple as possible while giving a lot of in-depth detail, because I want you to be able to watch this video and apply it almost instantly instead of have to digest a million things at once and just click off 10 minutes in. So things that we're going to need to cover to make sure you get everything you need from this video. Of course, as a general basis, how we achieve leaner, bigger, stronger results. That is what we're all looking for: to be leaner, to be bigger, fill out, and also put more plates on the bar and get stronger. The invisible processes that you don't see. So a lot of people talk about deficits, bulks, cuts, whatever it may be. There are things in the background which are going to make all of these phases 10 times easier, because you could tell someone to go on a deficit, but not warning them about the hunger, how we're going to manage that. If there comes to a point we get too hungry, to a point where you're actually not going to see results from that point, and what to do when those things happen. The step-by-step guide that your body needs to go through from each phase, from A to Z. So the phases that I put my body through, the ones that we roadmap for our clients, why we do them and where they get us. And of course, how your calories and training and cardio and everything like that should look and how it should progress as that time goes on. But before we get into every little bit of detail, I want to show you a few results that we've got recently and a little bit of a breakdown, just so you know through watching this video, if you've seen the results at the start, you've already got that trust, you know we can get you to where you want to be, and it's going to make every bit of information we talk about after this a lot more engaging. So first result on the screen, quick example. Everyone comes in with a different starting position. Most people want that same end result. Less body fat around the midsection, bigger shoulders, more veins in the arms, more clear abs, bigger chest, and that's exactly what we do. But everyone's starting position mentally can be a little bit different, but generally probably very similar. So in this case, we were lacking direction, lacking clarity to achieve that goal. This is something I bang on about 24/7, is having clarity in what you need to do and why to achieve your goal. Because if you're waking up and you're a bit hungry, or you don't really have time to cook, or you don't really want to go to the gym that evening, if you don't even have clarity on what you're doing and why you're doing it, what is going to get you out of bed to do it? Whereas anytime I've been in a deficit and things got tough, I know exactly how many weeks I have left, I know why I'm doing it, and I know where this is taking me, and I know what the next phase is. So even the days where I really cannot be asked to do anything, it is very hard to not do it, because I'm being held accountable through this clarity that I've got in the direction to achieve the goal. Also, flicking between routines. So many people are doing this. They're flicking between their style of training, if they're even going to bother training, the bulks, the cuts, every little detail is on and off 24/7, and you're just confusing your body. Not waking up with a clear mission, so relating back to clarity, not waking up with any real idea what they're doing and why, and obviously this shows in lack of results. What we aim to do is flip that on its head and make sure you wake up every day knowing exactly what you need to do. You feel like you're on a clear mission, you're developing knowledge daily, tracking and managing the right data, 10x confidence, and obviously elite shape is of course the end goal as well. Now moving on to another good one here, we've got Kian. So example with him, he had lost routine with a busy lifestyle, work, relationships, and let things slip away. He was someone who was going to the gym before, but as I said there, just kind of let things slip away. Getting in that habit of maybe not really eating breakfast, grabbing convenience food, having a nap after work, and just no real sign of getting back to it on your own. You're just kind of waiting for something to happen. Tried, failed in the past, and you start to slowly give up on yourself a little bit, and without realizing, become your own last priority. Now, something I really like about this transformation, we go into that mindset of having that feeling that you've got your life back, but when you didn't even realize you needed to do that. So many people will make transformations and they'll realize how much they were missing out on before. They didn't realize how much they needed to change, and it only slaps you in the face when you do something about it. So you might be listening to this thinking, well, I don't really need to get my life back, I just want to get in better shape. But once you do get in that better shape, as I said there, you do realize how much you were leaving on the table and how much you could raise your standards and how that affects other areas. Now, of course, with this, energy, testosterone, health, fitness, related injuries, everything leveled up, pushing on with work at a higher standard and just demanding more from yourself, more from others, and just giving you that new sense of purpose to wake up. So a few results there. As I said, we could bang on about those all day, but I do want to take you through the processes of how you can achieve them and exactly how we do them as well. Phase one, let's get straight into it, is get lean. Okay, so in order to build a lean and muscular physique, you cannot just be sat there with obvious body fat, no real muscle mass, and just expect to build muscle and grow into that fat. And a lot of people talk about losing fat and building muscle, like you can do it simultaneously. Now, while cutting down, you are going to build muscle, but what this is actually going to really do is expose the muscle mass we do have, give us a clean canvas so we can see how lean we actually are. Do we already have abs? Do we need to build them? Are our shoulders, our veins, anything like that? Do we have any good proportions, good genetics? This is going to expose us pretty much. And in this case, you're going to see people who say, okay, there's not loads here, but now we're at a clean canvas, we can kind of build from where we want. Or you can look at some people and say, right, now you're super lean, look at the size of your shoulders, look at your chest, look at your abs. Let's work on those stronger areas even more and absolutely blow them up. So getting lean has to be priority number one. If you have any obvious body fat, this doesn't say you have to get shredded, because if you don't have the muscle mass there, it's going to be hard to look super shredded. But as long as there's just not obvious body fat, you had a bit of a dieting phase, then you can start to push back up. Not only are we going to be able to build from a clean canvas and get bigger and stay lean, which is exactly what we're trying to do, but we're also going to be more responsive to nutrients at this point. So if we've cut down and we've kind of limited our body from calories, carbs and fats and things like that, and we've done loads of cardio, imagine what's going to happen to your body when you double the amount of carbs you're consuming and go into a lean bulk. You're going to blow up, but it's all going to go in the right areas because you were depleted from them in the past. So to make step one simple, just a bit of an overview, we're going to go into how we're going to do it, of course, as well, but we're just looking to get lean. But you need to understand why that is. Don't let yourself get caught in the trap that so many guys do, where just because they want to be bigger, they're scared to cut down. You have to lose that initial body fat and build from that clean canvas. If you have body fat and you start to try and gain more weight on top, you're just going to build negative mass on negative mass. Start from a lean position, and then we stay lean while growing muscle. You can't theoretically do both at the same time. Now, as I said at the start, there will be an element of building muscle. Now, especially if you're going to have newbie gains. When I say newbie gains, I don't mean if you've just started the gym. That is something that's what's going to help as well. If you've just started, you're going to get a load of gains really quick. But if you're someone who's still been going to the gym for a few years, a few months, a few weeks, whatever it is, you're going to still see newbie gains if you just work to the level of detail that we're going into now. So for example, I'd been training 6 or 7 years before I really nailed what I was trying to do. I'd already benched like 150 kg at this point, deadlifted 220 kg, put on like 10 kg of muscle. Like I'd already built a good result and good physique. But when I actually worked with a coach for the first time and I learned more about tempo, progressive overload, and actually structuring my nutrition and my sleep and my vitamins and everything like that, that was going to give me every little bit of detail to get the result I wanted, I had a new wave of newbie gains. So just from you training at the level of this detail and dieting to the level of this detail, you are going to notice some quick gains very quickly, even if you've been training for years, okay? Or, months, weeks, like I said. So there will be a level of muscle mass built in this phase, just purely from keeping training standards extremely high. So what we try keeping in top of our training plan is sticking to the same plan, not flicking between different exercises every day, just going to confuse your body. Stick to the same tempo, which is basically the speed of each exercise. The more controlled you are, the easier it is to manage if you're progressing or getting weaker on it. And then you can make adjustments if that's the case. And the best term to put it is just training harder than last time, just getting stronger, trying to do an extra rep, trying to do an extra bit of weight, but keeping it within the same system. So the same training plan, the same speed, same rep range, and getting stronger within that simple plan quite aggressively. That is going to build us muscle, whether in a diet or a bulk. So how do we actually execute phase one? It's all well and good of me saying to you, go and get lean. We'd all be there if it was that easy. So how do we do it? So we want a smooth and sustainable way where we can just plug this into our lifestyle and not have to add loads of tasks to our life. So let's start really simple with calories. Whether you're following a meal plan, tracking your calories, either one is going to work all the same. Obviously, a meal plan does probably offer a bit more security, and if you can follow that, great. I definitely would recommend it, because calories, sometimes you're following them, you might think, oh, it's late, I haven't eaten, let me just pop into a shop or grab something out the cupboard and hit my numbers. And then you actually get caught up too much on the numbers, and you forget that you're actually eating shit foods half the time. But either way, they can work. So what I basically do, get your maintenance calories, go on a calorie calculator. It's going to be a rough estimate, but just search your maintenance calories, simplest thing you could do, body weight, height, all that stuff, activity levels. And I would just take away 250 from that, from food, and I would also start to add in some activity. So I normally start clients between 20 minutes 3 days a week, or 4 times 25 minutes 4 days a week. So that basically just depends on experience and activity. But you can easily start on either. Like, you're not going to die from doing 25 minutes of cardio a day, and then obviously just aiming for 8 to 12,000 steps, anywhere in that range. 10,000 isn't a magic number, but it is very achievable, and it does give you a nice base. So yeah, 250 calorie deficit from food, a nice bit of cardio to start you off, and this is still going to kind of be classed as that maintenance level phase where it's not too demanding on the body, there's not too much hunger, it's not going to write you off, you can still mix in a social event, you can still slowly adapt into it. What we don't want to do is start in a 1,000 calorie deficit and doing cardio every day, be knackered from the cardio, it's interrupting our gym sessions, it's interrupting our mood and how we work, and the diet is just unsustainable, because what we need is to be losing weight at our start point at a very little chunk a week, but we also need to have runway where when the scales stall, we can decrease things as they go. Because if you start too low and your body stalls and adapts what you're doing, because that's what it's going to try and do to survive, where do you go from there? Because you've basically already fucked it by being too aggressive. I love getting aggressive in a diet, but within reason. Okay, so we've got our maintenance calories, we've taken away a little bit, we've added a bit of cardio, so now our deficit is here. Now what we want to do is set like a rough timeline for how long we're going to diet for. Now don't overthink this, you don't have to do this, but like I said at the start, if you know how many weeks you've got left in a diet, those days where you're hungry, you're just going to look at the light at the end of the tunnel and know why you're doing it. So if I was coaching you, you would know exactly how long you're dieting for, you would know how much weight you're going to lose, and you know what you're going to look like at the end of it. But in the case of doing it on your own, like I'm trying to think, if I, back in the day when I didn't have a coach, trying to figure out how long I'm going to diet for would get quite confusing. So you don't have to do this, but you can add it in later down the line. So for example, if you're consuming this amount of calories and you're doing this amount of cardio, and you work out that you're losing half a kilo per week, you could then theoretically add up how much do I want to lose and how long is that going to take me. If I'm losing 0.5 of a kilo and I want to lose 10 kg, then I can work that out. But yeah, the benefit of this if we work together would be massive. For example, I might say to you, look at your body, mate, I need you to lose 10 kg. This is going to take us 8 weeks if we do it this way. So as I say, when you get to week 5 and you're starting to struggle, not only could we add in like a diet break or, manage the hunger together, but we could also just say, you've got 4 weeks left, just literally get your head down and crack on. And you're going to become a lot more disciplined through doing that as well. But you don't need it. And honestly, if I was working on my own and I didn't have a coach and I didn't have the experience I do now, setting a strict timeline would be difficult, but I would at least have some sort of target. But what is needed when you're doing it on your own with a coach, what is needed is tracking some daily data. Now, you don't have to be massive on this. It is hard enough to do anyway sometimes. You need to build it into a habit and a lifestyle. But as the absolute minimum, like I get my clients to track like their motivation, their energy, their hunger, and we've just got like an easy tick-off sheet, which takes 30 seconds at the end of the day. So, and obviously I'm telling them to do it, so it's really simple for them. For you, potentially doing this on your own if you're not working with me, I would at least just have some sort of system of tracking your scales, because you don't need to track your hunger to know how it feels. I only need to know theirs because I'm going to make adjustments based on it. But this, you need to be tracking your daily data because we need to know how much weight we're losing. And if you're not losing the weight that we need to be losing, we need to make slight decreases. So let's reset of where we started. Maintenance, calories, minus 250. Cardio, starting at 4 times 25 or 3 times 20, which is 20 minutes 3 days a week, 25 minutes 4 days a week after the gym or on a day off, not before your session. It's going to sacrifice your weights. So yeah, calories, cardio. Now we're tracking our scales. I would say daily, and you want to get an average at the end of the week because there's going to be fluctuations with salt, sleep, water, digestion, everything, especially stress with work as well. That's going to massively affect it. But daily, weekly, every other day, as long as you're not too irrational with what you see on the scales, you'll be fine. But we've got our maintenance calories, we've got our cardio, we're starting to taper them down, and now we're looking to lose 0.5 to 1.5% of kg body weight per week. Okay, so as you can see on the screen, if you were 90 kg, you'd want to be losing 0.45 to 1.35 kg per week every, well, I say week or every 2 weeks. If you didn't do it in 1 week, I wouldn't make a drastic change. I would let it set for another week because sometimes your body just needs to catch up. But you've got your calories, you've got your cardio. Every week or every 2 weeks where you don't lose 0.45 to 1.35 if you're 90 kg, do the maths for yourself. Then just lower the calories, increase cardio. I'd bump up the cardio by another like 5 minutes a day, or add an extra day of 20 minutes, and I would decrease the calories by another 150 to 250. And if you just keep in this system, you will just keep doing that until you get lean. Just don't make drastic decisions. Let yourself have a longer period of time with each amount of calories because you're going to need it for the runway. So it's as simple as that, and you just keep doing that until you get to a leaner spot. You find out your maintenance calories, you decrease them by 250, find your cardio at a nice base and your steps, your activity, and then every time the scales aren't going in the direction that we need them to, 0.5 to 1.5% every other week or week, then a little decrease to keep us going. There are small things like managing hunger, but it's not something that essentially is going to stop you from dieting. Like, this is the base information. And then when it comes to managing hunger, that might be something you have to deal with in the moment. For my clients, quick example, we might push meals back. The more food you have in the evening, likely the less hungry you're going to be. Have more cans of Coke Zero, Pepsi Max, they are fine. Don't even. But yeah, so things like that, all good, keeps us going. Now, let's have a quick pause. I don't want you to get too confused. This is where we're at right now. Now, don't let this scare you. Obviously, this is just what our coaching roadmap looks like. So clients can see when they're in their deficit, what days they're training, resting. They can see everything that they need to go through from cardio. So everything that we went over just then in terms of what you need to do, this is what a client gets in their like blueprint. So it's already done for them. Before they've even like fully signed up, this is made for them, so they know exactly what they're going to do. But yeah, this is where we're at right now. So we have increased cardio, decreased calories over a long enough period of time, to get to where we need to be. So as you can see, we were dieting for 8 weeks. We've completed that. We've increased cardio, decreased calories as time went on. I'd also try and always decrease your calories through carb sources, but that's more if you're following a meal plan. If you just eat normal food, just as long as you still hit your protein. About 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So if you're 180 pounds, 170, 180 grams of protein, or even 165, you'll be all right, but around that mark. So yeah, we've completed our 8-week diet, and it was as simple as that. In terms of the in-depth things, we've just found our calories, decreased them as a scale stool, increased cardio, and got to a point where about 10 to, not just 10, but you don't want to go too low, but you're probably not going to do that by accident anyway. But 8 to 14% body fat is a good range. That's nice and lean. And then we're going to go into our next phase as well. So going into phase 2, which is where we stay lean, grow muscle, and ramp up training. And basically, this is where the fun stuff is, where we create the look that we came for. So phase 2 is getting big and staying lean. Now, as you can see next to me, the funny thing is here, there's actually not much to go over. It is literally as simple as what it says on the tin. But what I want you to know going into this is everything you think or you thought you know about bulking is probably wrong. And that's not your fault, it's social media's fault. Food will make you fat. So if we are relying on eating more and more food to grow muscle in this phase, we're going to get fat. Of course, there's an element we need to eat big to get big. But you know how I said at the start of that diet, whereas if we start decreasing food too quickly, we're going to lose that runway and we're going to stop making progress and we're going to be starving. Same thing here. You're going to get too full, you're going to get too fat, you're just not going to get to where you want to be. So the same system that we had when we dieted down and we would only decrease calories when we weren't losing our target body weight, we're going to do that the same way, but now reversing back out. But this time we're looking for very, very minimal increases in body weight. 0.3 to 0.6 every week to 2 weeks. Why is this? Because losing fat is obviously going to be a lot quicker than gaining solid lean muscle, let's remember, without gaining any fat or near any fat. It's obviously going to be a longer process, which is why some people struggle on a bulk and lose all structure. Because if you do a bulk properly, you're just going to probably back out if you don't have that support. So for my clients, when they go into a bulk, this is where it's like I'm trying to work with them every day and make sure they understand what's going on, because it is slow, it's steady, you're not seeing results overnight like you are on a cut, and it gets a bit difficult. But very, very minimal increases on the scales, just like very minimal increases in food. So we're looking for 0.3 to 0.6 kg every week to other week. Cardio, as the weeks go on, is slowly getting dropped. I'd say when you have your first increase in food, keep the cardio around where it is, maybe just lower it by 5 minutes a day. And then just the same way where you weren't losing body fat, you could increase your cardio. Every week when you're not gaining body fat, you can maybe, gaining body weight, you can decrease your cardio a little bit as well, just to help give you that buffer of less activity, therefore less calories burned. But I wouldn't go lower than about 3 times 20 per week. You still want to keep cardio going just for the heart and general fitness. But every week where we're not going up on that 0.3 to 0.6 or every other week, another 100 to 200 calorie buffer just to keep us going. Remember, we're not chasing scale weight, but of course we do still need to eat and keep up with the scales to an extent. But number one, this is not a generic bulk. This is not a case of order the biggest things off the menu, snack on whatever you want. There still needs to be structure. I'd still be following a meal plan. I'd still be balancing your off-plan meals and your cheat meals into the calories, just like you would in your deficit, and keep yourself on that same path. Because again, as soon as you start gaining fat, as soon as your appetite's in the bin, you're going to have to go back into a diet, you're going to get miserable, not want to do another cut, and drop off the wagon again. So what is the actual aim? What is success in this bulk? If I'm saying don't eat all the food, don't gain loads of weight, how do we actually get bigger in this bulk? You're going to get bigger through training harder, okay? Now it becomes priority to go in the gym and aim to get stronger or just improve or train harder every single week, okay? So you're going to be tracking your weights, following the same plan. You can switch up your plan, make it a bit more intense from the diet plan workout, but if you just enjoy your routine, you can stick to the same workouts. But now we're going to go in the gym and make sure we're training harder. So the food that we're consuming, I want you to look at this, the food we're consuming is getting put into our workouts to train harder, to build more muscle. Due to having more food, we can go heavier, which is going to warrant more muscle growth. If we go heavier in the gym, that's going to cause that response on the muscle to come back stronger and grow. So more food, more strength, more gains, scale weight slowly goes up alongside it. And that scale weight, the reason it's so small is it represents the muscle we're building, not just fat from eating loads of food. So what I would suggest you do is figure out your maintenance calories. So go back to the start, go on the calorie calculator, figure out your maintenance calories, look at the calories you're currently at. Let's say you're on 1,800 calories and your maintenance is 2,400, meet in the middle. So just cross out either side, meet in the middle, and start from there. That's going to give you a nice increase to where you feel like you're out of that hunger. And the first few weeks of this bulk, the aim is to get rid of the hunger, okay? Not just start gaining loads of size. If your scales continue to go down or maintain for the first few weeks of increasing food, don't worry about it, just have them slight increases. That's a good thing. It shows that the extra food is getting put in the right areas so you can go and train harder and look fuller. So another quick pit stop. So by this stage, we've got lean, we've added in our minimal cardio and steps and deficit, and we basically just decrease things every 1 to 2 weeks when things aren't going in the direction we want. And now coming into this point, we're slowly increasing food to bump up the scale slightly, but mainly focus on staying lean with more food, driving more energy into the sessions to grow muscle tissue, not just body fat and not just getting bigger and gaining body fat. We're driving more food into the system, increasing calories and decreasing cardio. Quite difficult to say. And yeah, we're just looking to get bigger through doing that essentially. Now, quick tips on training, because training is going to change a little bit, like I said, and this also goes for every phase, and this is really quick. Stick to one training plan, or at least stick to the same plan for about 12 weeks. You want to have enough time for your body to get used to the exercises you're doing. That's not a bad thing. You're not trying to shock the muscle. You're trying to get stronger, so the muscle has to grow. Work within rep ranges, maybe 6 to 10 reps, or 8 to 15, or 10 to 15. As long as you're in a rep range, you're good. Don't aim for 10 reps, 12 reps, 4 sets of 12. 2 sets, 3 sets, heavy, in the right rep range. You're looking to fail in this rep range. So if I make your plan and I say do 2 sets of 6 to 10 on a bench press or a chest press or whatever, then you're looking to pick a weight which is heavy enough to fail at 6. You do a couple of warm-ups before you start your main sets, your working sets they're called, and then you'll basically, let's say you did 60 kg on bench press, you failed at rep 7, then you're going to keep doing 60 kg every week until you can do it for 10, and then once you hit 60 for 10, go up to 65, fail at 6 or 7 or 8 again, and build it back up. Again, it's just going into a bit more detail, but really what it means is just train harder than last time. Go heavier, but stick within the rep range. Keep some structure. As long as the basics are covered in training, you will grow, okay? Sticking to the same plan, trying to go stronger and heavier and one more rep than last time, sticking to the same rep ranges, having a good bit of control, and make sure you're feeling it in the right areas. Now, a little bit of detail on the finishing touches of what my clients have to make sure they nail this, okay? So forget roadmaps, forget the training and nutrition plans that we just went over. Results are only going to be made if we keep consistent on those plans on the good days, bad days, and build real lifestyle habits, changing our identity and building a new lifestyle, which spits out the results as we go. So what my clients have is one-to-one catch-up calls, reviewing their plan, always in the diary, 24/7 communication over WhatsApp, where we're going to text pretty much every day and make sure we're good to go, weekly video check-ins, where, as you can see on the screen now, we review progress, we go over what we need to work on, changes, if I need to give them a bit of a kick up the ass, or if we need to celebrate wins, answer any questions, and then daily data tracking. So they're doing all their tracking and I can see it straight away. And then it's going to be a lot easier for them to do it than it is maybe for you to track your scales every day with no one there to do it. And I just wanted to go over there at the end, how we get our clients' results with everything we went over in this video is how we get our clients' results from a training and nutrition perspective. But we program all of that in. And I showed you some insights into the roadmaps and the check-ins. But I also just want to finish this video off, if you've got this far, by talking about a little bit about me, the brand, the mission, what we do and what we stand for. Because I feel like if you're going to work with an online coach or you're going to try and learn off one, even if it's just their content for free, you need to kind of relate to that person. You need to, trust them, and you need to feel like you know them a bit more. Because if you're going to basically get almost mentored through fitness on a day-to-day basis, you don't even know your coach or who you're listening to, you're not going to get very far. So you need to kind of, relate to each other and have that relationship. So this online coaching brand you see is that you're looking at is no more, no less than someone who's put all their efforts in towards achieving a specific result in fitness while sticking to one specific process to make it happen. Not getting distracted, turn up on the bad days, the days where I want to do it, the days where I don't want to do it, and learning how to deal with life's challenges and being able to prioritize myself, my goals, and personal development. I believe that everything I've gone through in this video, and I live and breathe the systems that I've shown you, and I coach others to do the exact same thing. So I have my own roadmap, I have my own training plan, I have my own check-in process. Everything you see here, I completely believe in it, and it is my lifestyle. So a lot of guys will jump into the fitness industry, they'll try and sell coaching, they'll just be in shape and do whatever, but they don't actually have a process. I'm not trying to be someone that I'm actually not. I'm not trying to get clients I don't want to work with. I'm not just working with just dads or just mums, or I'm not just, trying to help 5 people lose 10 kg in the next few weeks. No, I am sticking to what I believe in with fitness, my systems, what I live and breathe every day, and what I want is people to jump on the mission with me, jump on board with me, and we're both going through the same phases, the same roadmap. We're both coming out with the same goals, the same targets, supporting and helping each other grow. And that is what my fitness business is all about, basically. So my views and opinions are, and what I believe in when it comes to coaching, is having full clarity in what we're working towards, how we're going to get there, and why we're taking that path. Not winging it, not just hoping for results and falling off the wagon, being on and off. We nail a goal, we set up the process to get there, and we just go and do it. This is done for increasing our standards in and out of the gym, demanding more from our lifestyle point, and also in the gym. Getting stronger, training harder, having a clear roadmap and plans that we can sustain around our lifestyle. We don't just follow a plan when life allows it. We build a lifestyle and don't make any excuses. So here's how I've demonstrated those things, just to make sure that you know that I'm living and breathing this as well. going through mistakes and the errors that it takes to understand how to stop winging it and how to build a lifestyle that we're proud of, which creates the body we're also proud of. Training and working on my own fitness journey for the last 10 years, I'm not taking a day off unless it's a rest day. So I know a little bit about how to not fall off the wagon. And then just some personal things as well, smashing what we consider world records in the gym on certain exercises without even realizing, literally just from doing what I coach. So hitting things that I one day found out after and got told were records at the time if I had competed, which was 150 kg bench press at 17 at 73 kg body weight. So feel free to look it up. But yeah, literally doing things like that just from committing to what I've learned from being a coach, and not trying to do things that I don't believe in, basically. So thank you all for tuning into this video. Hopefully you took a lot of value from it. I appreciate it's quite a long one and you're going to have to probably take a few notes or drop me any questions, but honestly, feel free to drop me any questions, whether that's coaching inquiries off the back of this because you want to learn a bit more about how we can do this for you, or whether it's just general questions about, hey mate, I watched your video, do you think these calories make sense for me? Please feel free to drop any comments, messages, things like that. I'm on hand pretty much 24/7. And as I said, I hope you got a nice insight into how to lose body fat, gain muscle, what my clients achieved, how they got there, and how you can do the same.